So there is a sort of revolution that is happening within our souls right now. We are here at this Gemini new moon, and leading up to this new moon, there has been a lot going on this past week. We had Jupiter and Venus have a conjunction in the sign of Cancer, where Jupiter has been there this past year and is moving into Leo this summer. And now Venus is moving into Leo right now, just yesterday, right around the new moon. And just before this, we had a square of the nodes of the moon in the sign of Pisces to Uranus in the sign of Gemini. So all of this stuff going on can sound kind of overwhelming when we just hear the aspects of it. But if we break down how we might be experiencing, it can feel a little less overwhelming, and maybe we can try to make sense of how we're experiencing this. So, Jupiter and Venus are both these, really lucky, benefic planets. And so, hearing people talk about how lucky this time is. Yes, it is a lucky time, but it is a time of choices. It is a time of choosing to follow that vision that might even feel too big, that might scare us. And also being able to be self-aware and not lost in our own limited perceptions so that we don't see what's going on around us or maybe the possibilities that we have around us. And this time is more than just in our own personal lives, although that is going to probably be mirrored. But you can see this in the world. The underdogs are coming up, right? The power is going to the people. We are not being silenced anymore. The Knicks are breaking their curse, right? We are finding a way to make it to the other side that we were told could be impossible. And the only way that we do that is if we have that like fervor within, that strong force that was created from something that made it that strong. That it was created as the diamond, right? And when we have to pave our own way through the maze of our mind in order to find the truth, there is something beautiful that can occur. And when the people who come out of that cave can speak about that journey and translate it into some form of art of their creation, then that is actually what plants the seeds to call forth others to do so as well. And it really requires that we create from a place of integrity, of truth, of authenticity. I know that there's a lot going on around AI and music, and I have to tell you, I actually have this like playlist of this really inspiring music, and it's like all AI, and I was very disappointed of it, but it's also good. And maybe it's somebody who was only able to create it through that vehicle. But and I'm happy somebody can express themselves, but I also, really support the authenticity of people creating something that isn't AI, right? Like, I'm very against the fakeness. And I think that, particularly Gemini, the sign of Gemini is so much about the artist, about the twins and the journey of the sun and the moon, and that we must go to the underworld and sometimes it's really just the twins are the two parts of ourselves, the darkness and the light, the part that must transcend the journey through the underworld in order to actually shine authentically at the top of the mountain. Because the image that is that final image that we see, we can sense the depths of where it has been or has not been in order to be created. And we just feel that within our souls. So while you can find like a nice bop or something of something that somebody had a creation and they wanted to use that, right? And you can actually really like it and it can be great. Then there can also be people who can feel really upset about that because maybe they have, spent so long and spent the 10,000 hours learning a craft of, playing an instrument or learning to paint or whatever, or write or whatever that is. And, then taking something and putting it into a machine that kind of can just spit something out. And this whole age of Aquarius thing is going to have AI and our creation and art and the experience of that be really prevalent because of Uranus. And the nodes actually this summer are going to switch into the sign of Aquarius at the North Node, Leo in the South Node. So this is, technology and our creation and how much we can do and how much we can output versus the self and what really comes from the authentic self. And are we swept up in the idea of the image of the output too much that we aren't truly cultivating the true space that art needs to come from? That's going to be a really big topic. I've actually just been, reading The Artist's Way. And as I said that, the 9 of Earth came. And that is, our individuality of what we create. And so I've been listening to The Artist's Way on audiobook. And this talks about, I'm sure a lot of people know what it talks about, but really that we all have this inner child within us that is the creator, that is the artist. And if we stop shutting that down, what is possible that we can create? Because this is just an innate sense of our connection to source, to everything. And really, no matter what you do, if you're connected to a higher source, that is going to speak for itself. And, I have the 7 of Earth coming up where you can really see that the waiting when you are planting the seeds and the faith that it takes in the belief of what you do, even through any sort of heartbreak, that is what creates what we see when you get to that 9 of Pentacles, when you get to that place of fulfillment. It has the same sort of energy of what built it. And if it's authentic or not, we can sense it. So as we are moving into this summer, there's going to be a lot of experiences with what we create and feeling the new trajectory of it come up against what we have already known. And that's going to be a really interesting journey. If you are interested in a personal reading, you can book one through the link in my bio. I do astrology, tarot, and sound healing sessions, and you can do a couple of that or all combined. Anyway, I'll see you in the next one.